directly to the topic of today, and we will start by why smart money moves matter. Why does smart money matter? When you talk about smart money moves, basically, what do we mean? We are talking of a circumstance in which we will try to ensure that we handle our finances in appropriate way. And I started by saying that sometimes money comes in to test us, and if you handle it well, then you will keep it. If you can't handle it well, money will leave you. So I start by telling you that financial success is not an accident. It is a result from informed and intentional decision making. Now, smart money moves empowers individuals to achieve financial stability. It also allows you to reduce financial stress and enables financial independence. One thing that all of us will agree with is that 90% of the stress that we have in our life, especially those who works and lives around town, are related to money and how we handle the money. So that means that when we have a good understanding of money and how we can handle it, then we will be in a position to solve most of our problems and most of our stress that sometimes ends up leading us into diseases like cancer and maybe ulcers and all that. So we are also looking at the ability to ensure that everyone is financially independent. Now, this session basically delves into key strategies that foster wealth creation and financial security. Now, we need to understand the money man's mindset. So how does money work? So there is a difference between those who are very rich and the poor mindset. The mindset towards money significantly affects our financial outcomes. A poor mindset focuses on consumption and short-term gratification, whereas a rich mindset prioritizes investment, growth, and delayed rewards that we also call delayed gratification. Now, those with wealthy mentality seek financial education, invest in assets, and continually enhances their financial literacy. Basically, what we mean here is that every time when you have a rich person and a poor person somewhere, there must be a reason behind it, especially when it comes to how they handle money. The person who has a poverty mindset will always see money in terms of something that should be consumed. So money comes, he consumes the whole of it, and then the following week, he has nothing. And then he promises himself that next month, when the salary comes, I will treat it well. Then that time comes, money comes, confuses them, and they consume it aimlessly, and then again they get back to the circle. And then the circle continues and continues forever. And then we give birth and we pass it to our children, and it continues to the end. But now when it comes to the wealthy mindset, sometimes we go against what our mind wants. Generally, we always want to feel good, feel happy, show others that we are doing well, and feel so validated, you know. But if it happens that an individual makes a decision to probably go against such feelings or decisions, then in the end, they may make some good moves that makes them rich finally. Now, those with a wealthy mentality will always seek financial education. They will invest in assets and enhance their financial literacy. Now, how do we shift from a consumer to an investor mindset? Now, when I talk about shifting the mindset, basically it refers to financial planning. And this is something that no one will want to hear. When it comes to issues of financial planning, there are certain things that I will say that will make most of us uncomfortable. Like, you have to suspend your emotions when handling money. We have family members that may need money from us. But if we want to be financially free, then it means that certain times we have to budget and let them know that this is what we can give within this specified period of time. Now, what do I mean here? Now, to transit from being a consumer to being an investor, one must track their expenses to identify their necessary spending. They must also focus on acquiring assets rather than acquiring liabilities. So when you talk about tracking your expenses, that means that at the end of the month, you can look at your bank statement or your M-Pesa statement and find out where your money has been going to. And that's why some banks have actually helped us to track our behavior around money. Because when you are withdrawing some amount of money, it will require narration or what we call description. That itself can assist you to track how you behave with money. Then you can also prioritize on the savings. You need to prioritize. So the first thing I've said that you need to track your expenses to identify unnecessary spending so that you can cut them off. The second one, I've said that you can focus, or you need to focus on acquiring assets rather than liabilities. Assets refers to anything that pays you. A liability is anything that takes money from you. For example, somebody will ask whether a personal car is an asset or not. So a personal car, if it gives you money, probably you can visit a client with it, or it can give you that validity, or you can make a client comfortable to get to understand that you can deliver on your mandate. Then it means it is an asset because it pays you. But if you are only using it for personal reasons, probably just going to travel and enjoying yourself without getting any income from it, then in that case, it becomes a liability. Number 3, we've said that we need to prioritize saving and investments over impulse purchases. So that means that you should not just buy things, but you need to plan yourself when you are buying so that at least you have some savings for yourself. And the savings should always come before anything else. Don't trust yourself that you will use the money and what is left will be saved. It is first saved, then now you use the rest. Then now we should get to understand that there is power in financial discipline and what we call delayed gratification. Now, financial discipline, like I had said or hinted, involves resisting the urge to spend unnecessarily and consistently prioritizing the long-term wealth. Now, delayed gratification means postponing the immediate pleasure to secure future financial stability. Now, where do we see financial discipline? In situations where you decide to save for retirement. Remember that when you receive the salary, it is at your disposal and you have the ability to consume the all of it. But if you decide now to have some savings for future use, then it means you are exercising what we call financial discipline. Besides that, I can also give an example of investing in education. We spend a lot of money in educating ourselves. We remember from campus, we used to get a loan. That loan is supposed to be paid with interest when you get employment. So in the first place, you are taking a hit, which is a loan, to get education. And finally, that education will be paying you back. So that is what we call financial discipline. At the same time, we can also talk about a business. So like Jay, it happens that in the first place, you can sacrifice yourself, sacrifice the comfort that you have, and start a business. Buy 1, 2, 3 things out of your savings and start a business. Then finally, we say that you are disciplined enough to look at the long term. Look at the things that will happen beyond today in order to be financially free. So basically, there are certain things that we need to understand that for you to invest and to be financially free, because the way to investing is saving. So first you save and then you invest. Then investing gives you returns. Then the returns gives you the freedom. So there is a difference between savings and investing. When you talk about savings, basically we save for short-term goals. Probably you can decide to save maybe to go and enjoy yourself in Mombasa during the Valentine's or at the end of the year. So it's a short-term goal kind of a plan. But when you talk about investing, it's a long term. You look at your future and you look at the future of the children and the children of your children, in short, your descendants. So investing is basically long term. And remember that in economics, we usually say that S equals to V. Sorry, S equals to I. That is, you can only invest what you have saved already. Now, savings have low risk and low return because this is just your money that you've just kept somewhere. Maybe you've kept in the bank, you've kept in a circle. So the chances of losing it are very low. But investing sometimes have higher risk. But at the same time, besides the fact that it has higher risk, it also has higher return. If we have two people, one person has just kept their 50,000 shillings in the bank and another one has decided to do business with their 50,000 shillings, then the one who has kept the 50,000 shillings in the bank is sure that their money is very safe. But the income or the interest that they will get out of it is very small. While that one who have actually decided to invest has put their money at a risk. But when the return comes, it's also a lot of money. Now remember that when you save, you have a low return. So it means that you lose value by inflation. Inflation is just a simple situation where you have to spend too much money to pay too few goods, to get too few goods, which actually happens over time to any money that is kept. But now when it comes to investing, investing ensures that your money does not lose value. However much it may try to lose, but the return that you will get from investing will catch up with it. And then again, it's very easy to access your savings, but it's very difficult to access your investment because the money is always in circulation, is being used. So you can start by saving a deposit account, in a deposit account when it comes to issues of saving, but when you are investing, then you need to buy equity investments. Now, let's get to look at other things. Basically, we are going to look at what we call budgeting now. Now, budgeting for financial control, you need now to be in control of your money. You know, I know all of us have an understanding of this kind of a circumstance. You are employed, you work. You work in Nairobi, everyone at home knows that you have a lot of money. But when you are asked for money, you don't have money all the times. When you're asked what happens and you're going to work every day, you will be like, I just don't know where the money goes. So the money will be going to places you don't know because you don't track it. That 50 shillings you spend every day, do you ever think that that 50 shillings compounded, or when you use 50 shillings every day for the next 1 year or 2 years, then it will be material amount? That is one thing that we usually forget. So budgeting is basically the foundation of financial management. It helps every individual to plan their income and expenses, ensuring that the spending aligns with the financial goals. So all of us must have a financial goals, but the only thing that can lead you to that financial goal is proper budgeting. So to do proper budgeting, there is a rule that was established some times back that can enable us handle our money well. And that is what we call 50 to 30 to 20 rule. So when we talk about 50 to 30 to 20 rules, then it means that the income is divided into three categories. One, we talk of 50% of your income. So when you receive your salary or when you get your salary, 50% of that income should go into needs. Needs are those things that we cannot survive without. So we are talking about things like rent, because you cannot live on top of a tree. You will have to live in a building somewhere. Then there is food. We have to eat every day. There is healthcare. Remember that every part of the body stops functioning the moment you are unwell, and you stop thinking about food, and the body runs into survival mode. So healthcare is very basic. Then we also have utilities. There are things like electricity, things like internet, and all that. So 50% of your income for example, should always go to the needs. Then 30% goes to wants. Wants are certain things that you actually want to have, or you may want to have, but they are not necessary. That means that without them, life will still continue, but they make your life comfortable. So that is why you need them. Things like entertainment. You need to probably watch some movie somewhere, have some Netflix, enjoy with the friends, or enjoy with the boys when you are a man, or enjoy yourself out there with the girls. So that is entertainment, and it all depends. So there are things like vacations, there are things like luxury items. So such things are necessary, are not necessarily a must, but you need to have them. So that is why where you should put your 30%. But then again, also remember that in your 50%, you can also put your black tax. Black tax basically refers to that money which you usually give to your family members without planning. I need 5,000, they need 20,000 urgently. But it also depends. Maybe if you are organized, you can create an emergency fund to handle those emergencies. But I would advise that every person must have a black tax provision in their income. You know so well that I have to send this to mom, I have to send this to my girlfriend or my wife, I have to send this to my brothers because it's necessary. So after planning that, also let them know that that is what you can afford per month, and that will give you peace of mind. Now, the 20% will go to savings and debt repayment. Some of us have debts, and in most cases, we have debts. So, we really need to have some saving put in place to cover for the debts. Then there is what we call emergency fund, which is under the 20%. We have emergency fund that I've just talked about. We have investment on loan repayments and all that. Now, what are the tools that we can use to track our expenses? One, there are various mobile apps. One of them is called iSaveMoney. iSaveMoney is there on Google Store, and they used not to charge us, but now I think they charge some small amount of money. You can use them to know how much, or like to budget yourself so that you have all your incomes and your expenses. It will allow you to see how you will be spending money over time. So you can try it. At the same time, there is another one called YNAB, among others. Now, besides that, we need to build a strong saving habit. Now, how do we build a strong saving habit? The first thing is to pay yourself first. That means that you need to save before you spend your money. And this has to be done automatically so that you don't have to intervene every time. Now, this principle of paying yourself first encourages savings before spending. Now, you set aside a percentage of the income immediately upon earning and ensure that that will lead you to financial security. How about emergency fund? How much do you need to save? Now, an emergency fund should cover at least 3 to 6 months. Ask yourself a question. If you are fired today from where you are, for how many months will you survive before calling your colleagues and the past friends, asking them to send you money? So if that happens to you, then it means if the answer is that you are not ready to leave your employment and at least live comfortably for the next 3 to 6 months, then basically what you are saying is that you don't have an emergency fund. So you should think about it. Just start by contributing a small amount of money, and over time it will accumulate into something that will take care of you. Then thirdly, the other way to build a strong saving habit is by automating savings for consistency. Now, automating savings through bank transfer or payroll deduction removes the temptation to spend and ensure regular contribution towards your financial goal. Generally, we usually know that when we receive an income, then we start thinking of what we need to do. And that is, every time we keep promising ourselves that next month I will use that income well. But the moment it comes, our mind changes and we misuse the money. So to solve that problem, automate your savings. Do a standing order. So the moment that money hits your bank, it goes directly to your savings account. And so you will not be in a position to misuse that money. Now, what are the smart investing strategies? We've just talked about investing, we have talked about savings, and I told you earlier that saving equals to investing. You only invest what you have saved. Now, what are the smart investing strategies? Now, while saving secures money in a low risk account, like I'd actually tried to explain, investing generates wealth by growing that money through assets such as stocks, bonds, and real estate. Now, stocks simply refers to ownership of companies with growth potential. So you look at companies and their ability to grow, and then now you can invest in them. And remember that sometimes you don't need to involve yourself directly, but you can involve the money market fund organizations, or organizations that provide money market fund like Etika, Capital, Mayfair, asset managers, and all that. They will do that particular job for you and get some percentage of your commission or your earning. At the same time, you can also invest in bonds. And bonds simply refers to fixed income investments that provides stability. So when you have sent a fixed amount or invested in a fixed amount, then in this case, you actually know what you will be earning. For example, if you talk about government bonds, the ones that they usually give, they always give them to you at a discount. That means that you pay less the income that you're supposed to earn from it. For example, if you are expecting to get an interest of maybe 20,000 from a bond that you're giving to the government, then you will simply give the government 80,000, and then at the end you get your money. So basically you'll be in a position to get your interest. You get 100,000 and you have your interest. Now, besides that, there is also what we call real estate. Real estate, a lot of people invest in real estate, and I know that when I talk of real estate, someone will be here like, oh, how do I get money to buy all the buildings and earn interest from it? Earn money from it. No, there are organizations that will assist you to invest in properties without owning any house, and then you will be able to earn interest like the rest of the people who are homeowners. Then there are also business ventures, and business ventures simply refers to entrepreneurship, which is a wealth building tool. Now, there is something that we call diversification, and diversification simply means that you spread the risk. So you don't invest in one particular thing. So like now I'm telling you that you need to save. When I talk of saving, don't save in one bank account. There are very many places you can save. First, you can save in a SACCO if you need a loan to do business or maybe to grow yourself. You can save in money market fund if there is money that you've received and you don't want to use it immediately. For example, somebody has just sent you 1 million. Remember that you're not used to seeing 1 million. So the worst mistake you can do is to start investing directly or buying everything that you have around you. First, send that money or place that money in a money market fund. It will earn you some interest as you think and as you plan yourself on what to do with it. It will earn you interest on daily basis. I gave you an example of Etika, which is one. There is also CIC, but Etika is the best in the market currently. That's why I started with it. There is Mayfair, and there are very many others. So you can just check what works best for you. And remember that in that case, you will be depending on what we call the compound interest. Now, compound interest accelerates wealth growth by generating returns on both initial investment and accumulated earnings over time. So for example, if you decided to invest at Etika now for your MMF, by tomorrow or a day after tomorrow, you will be able to see your interest, the interest that you've earned. So the following day, when they'll be calculating your interest, they will calculate it based on your principal amount plus the interest that you earned the previous day. And in that case, the wealth will be multiplying without you being involved. Now, having looked at that, we will go ahead and look at what we call debt management, because debt is one of the elephants in the house. Somebody may have very good plans to succeed and do things and let them work for him. But once you have loans, sometimes it can mess you up. So, how do we deal with debts? There is good debt and bad debt. Now, good debt refers to loans that are used for appreciating assets, We are talking about things like education. We are talking about things like business, and we are talking about things like property. If today you decide to invest in education, then you know that after some time it will give you some money. They kindly admit some people, they're out there. If you invest in business, after some time, it will give you some money. And at the same time, if you also invest in property, you know that with the time, it will give you some money. But then there is also what we call bad debt. Now, bad debt refers to high interest consumer debts, like the mobile loans that you love so much. So these debts are things like credit cards, where you are allowed to overdraw from the bank or to draw money from the bank and probably pay later using your credit card. You can buy anything using the credit card and then you pay later. Then we also have the mobile loans, among others. These loans comes at a time when you feel you need them most and you are so vulnerable and you can easily make financial mistakes, because you find that these people charges you almost 30% interest and you will still take it. Some of them will charge you 48% or even 50% interest. You will not even notice it because you are in need. And so in the process, you waste a lot of money because you did not plan yourself when it comes to how you handle the debts. Now, how do we eliminate or how do we deal with the debts? Because we've said that we want to succeed, but these debts are hindering our success. They are on our way. They are the block. So how do we deal with them? So there are at least 3 strategies that you can use to eliminate or reduce debt. One is what we call debt snowball method or snowballing method. So debt snowball method simply refers to paying off smaller debts first to build momentum. In short, if you owe someone Mshwari 500 shillings in Mshwari, you pay it first. You have some Hustler fund, maybe 1,000 shillings, you pay it before 14 days come to an end. You may be having some 300 bob in KCB M-Pesa loan. From KCB M-Pesa, you pay it off. So you pay those small debts. So every time you pay those small debts, you get the encouragement and the goodwill to finish the other loans. So that is what we call debt snowball method. So you pay off small debts first to build momentum in order to encourage you to pay the rest. Number 2 is through what we call a debt avalanche method. So when I talk about a debt avalanche method, it simply refers to prioritizing high interest debts to save money over time. For example, you have a debt where you lose in interest maybe 5,000 per month or 10,000 shillings per month. So you've learned one thing, that even if you decide to pay the small debts that earn small interest and forget about that bigger one, you will lose more money in interest than if you decided to actually pay that off first, then after that you come to the rest. So you deal with that which takes a lot of interest from you, because interest is money that is getting out of you. So that is what we call debt avalanche method. Now, besides that, you can also do what we call negotiation to lower the interest rates. Absa Bank has been doing this for a long time with the business people, and that is why business people love them. They usually allow business people to go and negotiate the debt in case it happens that they are not able to make their payments as earlier planned. Then they can have a conversation so that they can reduce the interest rate or even change the terms and prolong the repayment period, and that will allow them to make payments. Now, why do we need to talk about debt? Well, how about those who just take debt and forget about it and they never pay? What are the benefits of ensuring that you're faithful? Kwa sababu huwa tunasema dawa ya deni ni kulipa. Mbona tulipe madeni? One thing you should know is that every time you borrow money, especially if anything online is involved, because these days we borrow from banks, we borrow from M-Pesa and everywhere. So everything we do is online. So in that case, it basically means that there is a record somewhere. There is something called CRB. I know some of us, when we were in a campus, second year or something, we borrowed loans, we never paid them. And then several years later, you realize that you have a poor credit rating and banks are not able to give you loan because you are not faithful in the past. So even if it happened that you had such loans and you didn't pay, you can still pay as at now and clear yourself from the credit bureaus. So a high credit score, which comes out of ensuring that you do prompt payments, qualifies you for a better loan terms and for financial opportunities. When I talk of better loan terms, I mean that you as an individual, if today you go to the bank to borrow money and they realize that you've not been paying your loans, then it means that they will charge you a higher interest because the rate of default is high with you. But another person who has been paying their debt promptly and have a good term, have a good relationship with the money, they will charge a low interest because they are behaving well. They have been behaving well around money. So pay your bills on time, reduce your credit utilization, and maintain diverse credit mix. Today, after this conversation, if you know that your account is not clean and you may need a lot of money to do business in future, simply go and download an app called TransUnion, and you will only pay 50 shillings, and you will be able to see which companies or which banks have taken you to the CRB. Then you can clear yourself there by paying the loan, and then you will be set free. Now, next is to talk about what we call wealth creation. Now, we have looked at what is taking wealth from us, which is debt. Now, how do we create wealth? Now, let's say that we've taken debt out of the way, or we are still taking it out of the way. How do we create wealth? So this is how we create wealth. Now, relying on a single income source or single source of income to make wealth is very risky. If, like today, we rely on employment, and the following day you are told you are no longer needed, then it means you will be having no source of income, and so the stress will go up. You see? So that is why we are saying that it is not advisable. I'm advising every employee to cheat on their employer, but responsibly, and ensure that the work does not suffer. When you are at work, do the work at work. But when you are at home, now you can change your life, because someone once said that how your life will be 20 years from now will depend on what you do with your time from the 5 p.m. when you leave your work to the following day when you come back to work. So use extra time to diversify your income. Now, what are these different types of incomes that we are talking about? There is what we call active income. Active income refers to that job you are going to every day to earn your income. So it is basically earning from employment or business that requires your physical presence every day. Then we have something that we call passive income. Now, passive income is generated with minimal efforts. You don't put a lot of strength or energy in generating such incomes. They refer to things like dividends that you've always had being declared. There is rental income. Once someone builds their house, they will not be around. They will simply come to collect money. So that is a passive income to them. And then finally, we also have what we call portfolio income. So I've talked about active income, which simply refers to money that you earn on a daily basis as you go to work, which requires your physical presence. I've talked about passive income, which is generated with minimal effort. And lastly, portfolio income. Now, portfolio income simply refers to earnings from investments like stocks, mutual funds, etc. And I explained what stocks are, as well as mutual funds briefly. And they are somehow long, so it means that maybe we'll have another day to look at them deeply. But for now, we need to understand that there are also other opportunities like freelancing and consulting. For example, if you are working as actuarist or maybe a human resource manager, you have understanding of what is supposed to be done. So you can also leverage on your professional skills besides the normal work to earn more income. Then there is also what we call the real estate investments, which ensures that there is that rental income that comes on monthly basis. Then we also have online businesses where we have things to do with e-commerce, affiliate marketing, as well as digital products that we sell online. And finally, there is also what we call stock market investments, which allows you to have long-term wealth building opportunity. Now, there is a difference between active and passive income, and I've just given a summary there. So basically, active income means you have to be there. So you work to earn income. But when it comes to passive income, that money works to give you some return. So for active income, again, you also need to get involved. But for passive income, you don't need to get involved. Then there are also less risks that are involved when it comes to active income, because you are there working and looking at the money. So you know you will actually get the money. But for passive income, there are risks because you are sending your money out there and you are not part of it. Jay, there are people who are stuck out there, kindly add them. Then there is also what we call investment, which is not required. It is you that is supposed to provide, to appear there and do the work. But passive income requires that you spend some money, you invest some money and leave it out there. And then for the active income, the income is steady. You know so well that at the end of the month, I will be earning 200,000 or 250,000. But for passive income, cash flow happens. Money keeps coming in and out at the same time. So those are some of the things that we need to understand. But we also have to understand that we must build a passive income if we want to be financially free, because it is the only way to freedom. Now we will move to the next thing and talk about financial protection and risk management. Now, we've actually built the wealth now. So after building the wealth, is it the end of it? No, it's not the end of it. We need to take care of the wealth that you've built so that we don't lose it. There are a lot of people who have made millions of money. You hear that somebody's a millionaire today. You've heard about TikTok things. They talk about somebody's a millionaire today. The following day, they have nothing. You've heard about people who earn billions, or let me say millions from betting, and the following day, or let me say after a year or two, they have nothing completely. You've heard a lot of politicians who live a very lavish life. Then they retire and they actually have nothing. It's because they did not protect their wealth that they actually built. So how do we protect our wealth? How do we manage risks? Now, there is something that is called insurance. Now, insurance safeguards individuals from financial setbacks due to the unforeseen events. So it means that you need to take insurance cover to protect yourself from such kind of things. For example, we have something that we call health insurance. That means that you must have a medical cover which will be covering your expenses. Remember that it does not matter the number of millions you have in your business. When sickness comes, everything stands still. And so you have to spend all your finances on treating yourself. So if that happens, then you lose money and you get back to poverty. So if you have insurance in place, which actually will only require you to pay just a portion, a small percentage, you see 4% or whatever percent of the total premium that total benefit that you're supposed to get, then you will be able to cover that and you will not go at a loss. So there is also what we call life insurance, and that life insurance provides financial security for your dependents. Dependents are people who are coming after you. Like after you are long gone, your children, your grandchildren will be taken care of by the money that you have saved through what we call life insurance. Only it's the insurance companies that provide it. Insurance companies in this case refers to GA. We talk of things like APA, Mayfair, Madison. There are so many. And then there is asset protection. Now we are talking of assets. You have your assets in place and you need to protect them. There are asset managers in place to do the protection of your property against loss or damage. And most of these things are provided by insurance companies. And then the second one there, we have what we call estate planning. So estate planning, or what we call wills and trusts. Now planning for asset distribution through wills and trust ensures a smooth transfer of wealth to beneficiaries. God forbid, we say that now you pass on after working for a long time and you have a lot of money. So the only way that you will ensure that there is peace among those people once you're gone is ensuring that there is estate planning, or you ensure that you have written a will. Now, the other way to protect your money is to avoid financial scams and fraud. To prevent financial losses, ensure that you verify investment opportunities. Every time somebody presents an opportunity to you, don't just look at it in terms of how much money you're going to earn, but also do proper vetting to ensure that you don't lose money. Besides that, also avoid sharing personal financial information with people you don't know, or even people you know. Let your finances be private unless it is a must to share such information. At the same time, also stay informed about the common financial scams so that they don't steal from you. So that is one way you can ensure that you protect your finances from loss. Now, we have already protected our finances after we generated them. Now, we are supposed to move to what we call financial freedom and retirement planning. One thing that all of us must understand is that we are not planning to work forever. At some point, we will get old, we will not have the strength, and so we will need to at least depend on what we did when we were young. It is always advisable that people start investing while they are young. So if there is someone that is at the age of 25 or 24, remember that if you invest, or let me say if you save for the future now, or if you start saving now, then in those days when everyone will be struggling to survive in the village, you will be able to get some money for yourself to feed you and to take care of yourself plus your families. Now, what does financial freedom mean? So financial freedom occurs when passive income covers expenses. When passive income covers expenses. Remember, at first I told you that we really need to ensure that we have passive incomes. Passive incomes are incomes that do not need your presence. And I also gave examples. So when passive incomes covers your expenses, then we can say that you're financially free. So that eliminates the need for active employment. You will not need to go to job in order to earn. You will sleep while earning. You know about people like Elon Musk or Musk, whatever it is. He is currently, sometimes he just does nothing and he earns money without doing anything. You only hear him buying stocks, you know. Passive income does a good job for him. Now, what are the steps to financial independence? So, when we talk of financial independence, as I have already given the description, there are a few steps you can follow to ensure that you're financially free. So, number one is to set clear financial goals. Tell yourself that this year I want to make maybe 3 million or 4 million. And then you lay a plan on how to make it. So you have to set a clear goal. You know, it is goals that guides us. Without a goal, like I just want to be rich. You know, I hear a lot of people say, you know, I just want to be rich. My goal is just to be rich. There is nothing called being rich. Being rich or being wealthy is relative. So you have to decide on what you want to make and where you want to get there. So number two is now save and invest consistently. Consistency is the name of the game. In short, be disciplined to keep investing every time. You know, that is what we call consistency. And I had already given you the secret. The secret was ensure that these savings are automated and minimize debt. Don't take any debt unless it is a must. And then again, diversify your income streams so that you have a lot of places or a lot of sources of income, and ensure that you always continue learning. So continue financial education. How about retirement? What happens to retirement? I can advise from the beginning that there is something that is called Provident Fund, which is called pension. So this Provident Fund is an advantage to you. Every time you save more money, especially if you are an employee, then you reduce the amount of tax that you will pay. Why? Because the taxable income will be arrived at by subtracting your NSSF plus any other pension contribution that you may have with a company like maybe GA or Kenindia. So that will reduce the amount of tax that you are supposed to pay. Earlier on, it could be taxed when you are now old and maybe you've retired and now you want to get some income. But the new law removed that. So it means that your saving is your saving. You will have to enjoy it until you die. So starting early allows such kind of investments to grow through compounding and ensuring that you are or you will be very comfortable at retirement. So how do you plan your retirement? Number one, determine your retirement goal. How much money do you want to have by the time you are retiring? Then after that, gather your data. Besides gathering your data, then now you can enter all that information that you've got into a planning software. Sometimes you can give this to insurance companies. They have all that, they will just do. Then now analyze the retirement projections, create an action plan, and alternate situations. In short, look at scenarios. If it changes, what if your salary increases? Such like things. Then now you review and revise the plan as the market changes. And that is all about retirement. Now, having looked at all that, we need to. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I was just in the last part, or last bit, I was talking about action plan. So what are the takeaways from whatever we've learned today? Number one, you should start small, but stay consistent. Consistency is the name of the game. If you decide to save 10,000 shillings monthly from today, in 20 years' time, it will not be 10,000 shillings, but it will be a lot of money, plus the interest, which will be compounding. So compounding will be your best friend because it will earn you more money. Besides that, ensure that you set clear financial goals. Without a driver, you are going nowhere. A driver who does not know where he's going means he can cause any accident and things can mess up. So ensure that you set clear financial goals. This will direct you on where to go. Besides that, now keep learning and improving your financial literacy. Learn taxes, it is important. Even if you did a course in agriculture or maybe anthropology and all that, you have to learn taxes because there are ways that you can use to reduce the amount of tax that you pay to the government, and that will save you a lot of money. At the same time, understand or have a good understanding of insurance and how it will benefit you. Have understanding of investment as well as retirement. Also ensure that you take care of your health because all these things cannot be enjoyed without good health. And that is by ensuring that you take some insurance cover to do that. Now, besides that, having done all that, then we know that in the end, you will be financially free. And I would like to say thank you because that is all we needed to learn today. So we are not able to discuss everything and to exhaust everything. Maybe we'll create time to discuss things like bonds, stocks, and all that because it's a wider topic and it involves a lot of things. So for now, I would say thank you so much for listening, and I would like to answer questions in case there is any.
Thank you so much, CPA Edward, for that presentation. It was a wonderful one. We have a few questions on the chat section that I'll be taking you through.
Okay.
The first question, let me kindly mute yourselves if you're joining us. The first question is on regarding the 50-30-20 rule. Should the percentage be applied on the income or the net or the gross? Then also, since we are tracking expenses, where will tithes be categorized? Under needs or wants?
What did you just say? The last one you were asking about taxes? Taxes or
Tithe inawekwa wapi? Is it a need or a want? Yeah.
Okay. Now, first, when it comes to 50 and whatever rule, the 50, 30, and 20 rule,
yeah,
that one you have to apply on the net income.
Net income, yes.
Don't cheat yourself because there are taxes, there is NSSF, NHIF, and all that have to be deducted from your income. So if you pick your net income as the income. But remember that when it comes to tithe, yes, it will fall under one of these things. But tithe, biblically, you are supposed to take it out of your gross income. That is before you deduct tax, you deduct NSSF, NHIF. So get a percentage from that and pay to God. So basically, tax will be, tithe will be basic. In my opinion, it will be basic because it is an habit that you need to develop, and that is about your life. So this also depends on the faith. So from my perspective, I would always put it first under the needs.
Thank you so much. And then there is, I think you've talked about money market fund, and that is something that people are interested in. So I'm sure you'll be planning the next a session on the same as well, so that you can have you shed more light on that. I think we don't have other questions. Unless anyone has a question, we'll be closing the session now. Do you have anyone with a burning question? Maybe Edward, before you go, if someone wants to reach you, how can they reach you? Maybe you can share your contacts on the screen for a minute or so that people can have your contacts, or even on the chat, and then we can. Someone is asking about examples of passive income. If you can repeat that as you share your screen on your contacts on the screen.
Also, they want to know about examples of passive income. I think I gave a few. I talked about maybe interest that you are likely to earn when you have a building somewhere. Sorry, when you have some investment somewhere. Besides interest, we also have what we call dividends. So dividends do not require you to be present. You just earn dividends at the end of the period. And so that is a passive income. Besides that, there is also what we call rental income. So rental income basically means that you have a building somewhere, and so you will be earning income out of it without having to necessarily be there. So there are so many passive incomes. You may also do freelancing, and freelancing may not really be passive unless you have someone working for you doing the job, and then you will be getting the income out of it. So basically, passive income is anything that does not involve your presence. For example, even if you have a business elsewhere, it may become a passive income because maybe you are employed, and so that is your active income. So if you have a side business, then that becomes a passive income. So anything that do not require your physical presence becomes a passive income. And most of them, like I've told you, comes from the investment in money market fund. You will just be investing your money and the interest will be accrued. Probably investing in a SACCO, you will also be earning dividends and as well as interest at the end of the year. So those are some sources of passive income.
Thank you so much for that. I think, Shanini, we are good. So Edward, you want to share your contact so that anyone who wants to reach you can reach you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I read out the number?
You can read out on the number and even have it on the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So my number is 0723 896 836. 0723 896 836. But at the same time, you can also write us an email on info@edconsultants.com. info@edconsultants.
Thank you so much for that, Edward.
22,000. And again, I repeat.
So
Thank you.